Hello! What's going on, everybody? JTIsReborn here, and welcome to another edition of Opening Night. That's right, it is 2020. We're beginning a whole new decade of opening nights. First of the new decade, first of the year, yada, 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 all that other bullshit. Let's just go ahead and talk about this movie that I saw. So, I went ahead and I just got out of the theater. I just saw Jumanji: The Next Level. I wanted to see this thing back in December, but I just kept pushing it off and off and off and off. And then finally, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going to go see the movie today. And here we are. Right then and now, and here I am talking to all of you about Jumanji: The Next Level. Now, this movie's been out for a few weeks. It is the fourth film in the Jumanji franchise. That's right, I said fourth films because there was the original 1995 film starring Robin Williams, which, you know, I grew up watching a lot. I still have my VHS tape, and I really enjoyed that film. And then, of course, there was the movies Zathura, which is in canon with the Jumanji universe. And now, I don't know if there's any really direct connections to it. I just know it's supposed to take place in the same universe. And then, of course, we had in 2017, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, which was a big, huge surprise hit of that year. Now, that's a movie I quite enjoy a lot. Even more so than the first film. And now we have Jumanji: The Next Level. So, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, like I said before, was a nice surprise to a lot of people. It had great legs, and everyone just kept going back to see it because it was surprisingly a fun, entertaining movie. And the more I watch that one, the more I enjoy it. Now, Jumanji: The Next Level, I don't know after leaving this one. There's definitely some elements I like, but it just kind of feels a bit like a retread of the previous film. Like, it kind of has to, like, regress certain characters in order to get, like, the story moving forward. Now, this one takes place, I guess, like 2 years after the previous film. So if you saw Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, you know kind of where everybody was left off at the end of that film. They all, like, went through their arcs, and they all became good friends. And now, the start of this film, we have the character of Spencer, who basically, like, he's kind of been distant from his friends. He just doesn't feel worthy. And then he's like, you know what, I'm going to, or whatever it is. He decides to go back into the game. And then you got to get everyone else to go and try and rescue him. And we kind of do the same shtick that we did in Welcome to the Jungle. But there's been some new additions and twists this time around. For instance, new to the cast this time around is Danny DeVito as Spencer's grandfather. And then you have Danny Glover, who, you know, Danny DeVito and Danny Glover are two actors I really enjoy. You know, obviously Danny Glover is famous from Lethal Weapon. Danny DeVito is, you know, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Twins, Batman Returns. Danny DeVito's a fucking legend. Danny Glover's a fucking legend. And they're in this movie together. So they both play like these two old guys. They get transported into the game. Everybody else from the previous film pretty much comes back to go into the game, and they got to rescue Spencer, and they got to save Jumanji again. Kind of do the same shtick that they did before. Like, even down to, like, the thing is to, like, instead of, although the levels have kind of changed, they've added some new things, like you can do some character switches within the game, but it just didn't feel as, I don't know, I just felt kind of disconnected from this one as opposed to the previous one. Like, the previous one I really enjoyed. I think Welcome to the Jungle is the best of the Jumanji franchise, but this one feels kind of like, we've been there, we've done that. I kind of know the shtick now. It's just, the jokes weren't really landing as much. Now, there's some funny stuff thrown in here, like you have The Rock trying to do his best Danny DeVito. You have Kevin Hart doing his Danny Glover. Fridge this time around is like Jack Black. Jack Black is still the best thing about these movies. Still doing his thing. But the shtick gets kind of old after a while. We get it. They're old and they're in younger men's bodies. I get it. Like, it just wasn't landing. The jokes weren't clicking. Like, it's kind of just like when you're watching the movie, it's like, oh, this doesn't feel as exciting. Like, the humor's just not hitting as much as the previous film. The action's not hitting as much as the previous film. The storyline this time around, it's not as engaging as the previous film. Like I said, it kind of feels a bit like a retread of Welcome to the Jungle, just not as good. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie. I just kind of thought that this one was overall just all right. And again, they kind of set things up for another installment, although kind of going to mirror the original 1995 Jumanji film. In fact, you know, I would like to see some characters of that movie show up. I'd like to see, who was in that movie? Kirsten Dunst. I'd like to see where her character is now after the previous Jumanji film. I want to see what she's going to do this time around. But, like, they also added in some new characters this time around. Like, they had this character named Ming, who Spencer ends up playing, because he wanted to go back in the game and be Bravestone again. Because I can kind of understand it a bit. I've seen that in movies where characters, it's like the adventure is over with. So what do we do now? And you get characters, you kind of just get bored. Like, I miss the excitement. We had this grand adventure, and it's like, you know, where are we at now? like, what is my purpose? Am I ever going to have something as fulfilling as that adventure again? And you kind of long for that. So I can kind of understand that point, but I just, like, even him going back into the game, like, I don't, like, the explanation they give why Spencer's kind of distant from his friends and that, it just feels kind of cheap as an excuse to kind of get them back into the game as their avatars. And like I said, I understand you got to come up with a reason to get them back into the game. But even after the second time, it just feels like, okay, is there a reason to do this again? Now, I'm kind of curious as to what's going to happen if they end up doing, like, what is this, another Jumanji 5, or Jumanji the final level. Like I said, I guess there's spoilers in this, but the movie's been out for a few weeks, and guess, you know, I'm not going to give away the ending per se, but they do want to do some. They've already talked about doing more Jumanji movies, so you kind of figure, like, where's the plot going to go from here? But I wonder what they do next. I wonder if the characters that, like, their original avatars will come out and, like, you know, appear in, like, the real world this time around. So yeah, like I said, it's kind of just them. They already know, like, even the characters within the game, like, it's not as exciting as, like, the initial discovery when they enter the game. Like, okay, we got all these abilities. We got this simple adventure. It's like the first movie, or the first film, the previous Jumanji film, Welcome to the Jungle. It just felt like a more, the adventure was more exciting. It was more thrilling. This one, I just kind of sat there like, you know, I'm not laughing at these jokes like I was before, because, like, the last movie you had Jack Black, and you had, you know, everyone just kind of discovering, like, who they were. They had arcs that they were going through, and it felt more fulfilling. Like, this time around, like, all the other characters don't really have much of an arc. They're already kind of developed to where they're at, except for Spencer, whose whole thing is, like, I want to go back and, you know, be that guy again. Like, I kind of miss being Bravestone, and he ends up being, like, somebody else, until obviously they have to do, like, the character switches again, which is a new feature that they added to this one. And also too, like, their abilities, like, you know, in their last movie they tap their chest, and, like, they have their abilities and weaknesses this time around, and that changes. And another thing too, like, there was another thing in that regards, whereas in the previous film, like, The Rock's character, like, Bravestone, he had, like, he had pretty much no weaknesses. This time around, they gave him a new one by a character the name of Switchblade. Now, Switchblade shows up and then just disappears in the movie. And you're just left wondering, like, is that guy going to play a factor into anything else going forward? But no, they don't really do anything with that character. They kind of just show up and then they just leave. It's like, okay, bye. And it left me feeling kind of unfulfilled a bit, wondering, like, okay, what's the deal with this guy? Why is he just there for a minute and just not showing up? I don't know. It just didn't connect with me as much as the previous one. I just felt myself kind of checking my watch here and there. Like, I mean, it's not a terrible movie by any means, but the spark's kind of gone at this point. Like, I didn't feel the excitement like I did when I left Welcome to the Jungle. Because, like I said, Welcome to the Jungle was a nice surprise, and a lot of people would say that they really liked Welcome to the Jungle. There's some good stuff in here, but it just doesn't connect or click quite as well as the previous one. It kind of has that been there, done that vibe. The adventure is not as exciting. The characters aren't going through, like, very good development this time around compared to the previous film, where they had their simple yet effective arcs. They're kind of already, like, everyone else is kind of like, okay, we're buddy, but Spencer is just, like, kind of lost in this world. And like I said, I've seen that work in other movies before, where characters, like, you know, I don't really have that drive like I used to anymore. I've done the adventure, I've done all these things. I'm like, is that it? Like, I want to get the excitement back again. Now, I understand that, but, like, it just wasn't strong enough to carry this movie, like, you know, what they went through in the previous film. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say about Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. There's some neat stuff. The addition of Danny DeVito and Danny Glover was nice, but I don't know. I just felt like that shtick got kind of old after a while. Whereas in the previous film, we had Jack Black as, like, a teenage girl. That just, and he played it so well. It was a lot funnier than, you know, because after a while, the whole, like, Kevin Hart as Danny Glover thing kind of got old. Same with The Rock as Danny DeVito. It was funny for a little while, but then it just got kind of old because, like, you know, only Danny DeVito can do Danny DeVito. So, yeah. That's all I can really think about with this one. But, yeah, for those of you who've seen Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, what did you think of it? Did you like this one more than the previous one? Did you dislike this one? I'm kind of mixed on it. I'm more to the center of it just being kind of all right. I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think it's a really good movie. I think Welcome to the Jungle was a far better movie than this one. Like I said, it's kind of just a been there, done that. I still like the cast all around. Like I said, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, The Rock, and Kieran Gillian are all great. You know, Nick Jonas is fine too. Danny DeVito and like the new additions are good, and all the actors are fine. I just felt like the script wasn't as strong as the previous one, and like even the spectacle and excitement just isn't there like it was in the previous film. So yeah, it's kind of just a bit of diminishing returns this time around. I think it was just kind of all right. I wish I would have liked it more. I wanted to really like this movie. I just left the theater, ended up just not really like feeling it this time around. I think it's okay. Don't think it's great. I mean, if you want to check out something that's just kind of a simple adventure, maybe you'll like this one. I don't know. I wonder what all of you think in the comments section down below. So go ahead and post your comments down below. You know, check out more videos on Jack's channel. Check out some stuff on my channel. I just posted some more after the movies on my channel. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between mine and Jack's channel. I'm going to post something on mine and then some on Jack's, so I can kind of get some content on my channel and, like, you know, stuff on the Big Jack Films YouTube channel for some more opening nights. Next week, I'm going to be seeing Bad Boys for Life or Doolittle. I'm kind of like up there. I think I'm going to see Bad Boys for Life, and that will go on this channel here, so you'll see more opening nights in the future. And I don't know what Jack necessarily has planned, if he's going to be doing opening nights on his end, but I do plan on doing some more for the channel, so there's some more content out there, and we'll have to discuss in the comments section down below what you thought of this movie and other opening nights and such. But yeah, I look forward to some more opening nights. When a movie's just kind of all right, don't really have too much to say. It's not quite as fun as something that's just terrible that you can just kind of rip to shreds, or something that's really great that you're so super giddy about. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit the bell for notifications, like, share with your friends, yada yada yada, all that other bullshit. Happy New Year, everyone, and I look forward to hearing from you all, and more content to come. So thanks so much for watching. Take care now. Bye bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.